Okay, Dr. Klein, whenever you're ready.
Sure. Hi, Juliana. I'm Dr. Steve Klien. I'm the Director of Undergraduate Studies for the department, as well as Associate Teaching Professor in the Political Communication area. So I am going to be doing a couple of things today. One of them is giving you a pre-recorded message from one of our academic advisors, Alex Anderson, who was unable to be with us today. And that'll be about, I think it's about 13 minutes or something like that. And that's going to primarily cover things dealing with the academic curriculum. And so if you've got any questions following that video about things like courses or the structure of the major, things like that, we can certainly address them at that time. And then once we finish up with that component, I can tell you some things about the various co-curricular opportunities that we have in the Department of Communication. Before then, I toss it to some of my other friends in the meeting who will tell you some other cool stuff. But first of all, let me get things sharing. And we'll start with Alex's video.
Together, we advise students on class.
There we go.
Hello, my name is Alex Anderson. I'm the Senior Academic Advisor here in the Department of Communication. I want to say greetings, welcome. Sorry I couldn't join you live today, but I am one of the academic advisors that makes up the advising office here in the Department of Communication. My counterpart is Katie Brueggemann. Together, we advise students on classes to take, resources on campus, different opportunities as far as minors and certificates and campus events and organizations to join. We are located in 114 Switzler Hall. You can schedule appointments with us on MU Connect. We are available for both in-person and Zoom appointments, depending on your preference. You can schedule appointments with us a day in advance or much later in advance. I work with students with the last names M through Z, and Katie works with students A through L. I've included our email addresses. If you have any questions right now you want to send along to us, feel free to do that. But before we go into details about the courses you'll be taking at Mizzou, I wanted to just talk a little bit more about the role of advising here on campus. So academic advising in the College of Arts and Science, where the Department of Communication is housed, is crucial to your success on campus. Advisors help you make decisions by providing timely, accurate information. We help you discuss your academic goals, concerns, and plans. We refer you to those campus resources I mentioned earlier and help you explore hands-on learning opportunities. It is very much a collaborative relationship. We really want students to tell us their needs, tell us what their goals are, and together we can kind of work on a plan to make that happen. That could be a semester by semester plan. That could be a yearly plan. We could talk about things that get you excited, things that motivate you. Often for students that are kind of struggling to understand their role on campus, I just say, tell me about a good experience you've had lately. What do you like about it? And we kind of go from there to make a plan and talk about those opportunities. It's a collaborative relationship too, because you need to let us know if something is not working, if you're struggling in class, if there's some aspect of your academic experience you're not enjoying, or maybe you're very much enjoying. This works best when you're telling us those things, whether that's through email or in appointments. We do our best to work with every student to provide a unique individual experience with them. We do encourage you to meet with your advisor at least once a semester, if possible. And then just to check your Mizzou email account daily. I know that is the main communication method we use with our students is to email. I try not to flood your inbox, and I know Katie's the same way. We certainly don't want students to feel like they're getting too much information, or it's becoming so much where they don't even check those emails anymore. If you see something from us, know that it's important. It's probably a deadline that's coming up, or it's an action item that you need to take care of right away. We also have peer navigators in arts and science. So these peer navigators are undergraduate students who are here to assist with course registration, exploring involvement opportunities, several of the same kind of conversations you have with advisors, but they're undergraduate students. So they'll be able to provide their perspective and kind of give you their insight into what courses work for them. How is a course structured? What does a general education course look like? What sort of expectations you can have? What does operating Canvas look like? And you can schedule appointments with them on MU Connect as well. Now, students are always curious about what does my first semester look like. It really varies from student to student, depending on college credit you may have coming in or dual credit, AP credit, etc. But for most students, your first semester is going to be primarily general education courses. So every student at Mizzou has to take an English 1000 or a freshman composition course, as well as a math pathways course. We usually recommend starting that right away while those skills are still very fresh for you coming from your high school experience. So English 1000 or math is what we recommend in that first semester. We also recommend that you get started in the department by taking a public speaking course, which is that Communication 1200, or 2100, which is our Media and Society course. Next is American History or American Government. That is a university requirement. All students on campus have to take either history or government. There's several different options for those, so we recommend taking care of that in the first semester if possible. Next is the behavioral science. I chose Psychology 1000 as an example, but there's other options as well, and I'll get to those in a moment. Those are just kind of an introductory class in those areas. And psychology, has tendrils in pretty much everything that we do as human beings. It studies the behavioral science, just kind of the overarching science of how we operate, how we behave. And then a humanity. And that kind of rounds out the schedule. We do recommend taking around 15 credit hours per semester if possible. You need 120 credits to graduate. So if you do the rough math there, that means you'll need to complete about 30 credits per academic year to reach 120 in those 4 years. So it's really important to try to stay around that 15 credits. I know some of you may be coming in with dual credit, transfer credit, etc. Maybe that number's a little bit different, but if you stick with 15, you're going to be in pretty good shape. Next is that second semester plan. So we, once again, encourage you to take English 1000 or math in that second semester as well, whichever one you didn't take in the first semester. We want to make sure that you're also starting on your science requirements. We require 9 credits of science and then a social science as well. And I'll explain kind of what those mean too. And then furthermore, an elective, or if you want to explore a minor outside of your major, outside of your general education courses, that's a great chance to do it. Usually minors include like one introductory class. So you would take that your first year, maybe your second year, and then a humanity or fine arts course to kind of continue with those general education courses. In your first year, it's going to be primarily general education courses, but those are going to give you the foundational knowledge that are important for those junior and senior level courses a little bit later on. And once again, there's a lot of variance here. No 2 communication majors have the same plan from semester to semester. It really varies. So this is just a template from which to use. All right, moving forward. This is a breakdown of where our courses in arts and science are. So just to give you kind of a basic understanding of what the sciences are, what our behavioral and social sciences are, what our humanities and fine arts are. So as you're thinking about general education courses, this is kind of the areas that you would look at. As you can see, there are a lot of options. In each one of these categories, I'm not even kidding, it's not hyperbolic to say that there's over 100 options in a lot of these categories. So it's up to you to kind of let your advisor know what sort of subjects you're interested in, and we can try to find the best fit for you, because ultimately that's what you want, right? You want an individual major that is going to suit your needs, suit your interests, and put you on the right path for success. We get asked a lot of time for minors and certificates and things you can pair with communication. One of the really nice things about communication at Mizzou is that it is a really flexible major. It gives students a lot of possibilities for minors and certificates in your junior and senior year. And so I've kind of broken these down into categories to give you an understanding of kind of if you're into a certain subject area, what other areas might be possibilities as well. And I've kind of ranked these in order of the most popular options for our majors. So it's not an alphabetical order, it's kind of what's most popular for our majors. On the left there, you can see the marketing and public relations. That tends to be where a lot of our students go. The business minor at Mizzou is really obtainable. It's just 6 classes. With the business minor, there's also the option to add a digital marketing certificate. So for students that are interested in marketing and learning about search optimization and how to use online platforms to, understand data and your customers, digital marketing is a great fit for that. That sales and customer development is really for students interested in sales. If you want to get into any type of sales, it talks about the psychology of sales. It talks a little bit about the management in sales. And it includes an internship requirement as well. So it gives you hands-on learning experience in an internship as part of that certificate. The journalism minor, that is 5 classes in journalism. Take advantage of the first journalism school in the world and taking some of those lower level courses with them. And then personal branding, if you are somebody who wants to get into marketing and communication, public relations, or kind of your own branch of that, personal branding is a great option for the certificate. We have some of the behavioral and social science areas. We have a psychology minor, sociology minor, human development and family studies. So if you want to get into the nitty-gritty of like why people behave the way they do, you can look into those. Anthropology for those who are interested in kind of the cultural aspect of behavior. Criminal justice, if you want to get into that area, it's certainly a passion for a lot of students. Political science, and then social work too, if you're more kind of interested in kind of social justice and some of those things, you can get into that area. And then finally, the humanities and fine arts. If you're a student who's creative and you want to have some of those things, you can go into your digital storytelling minor, art minor, Spanish minor, film studies, creative writing, and English, really giving you a chance to further develop those skills in those creative areas. We have students that go on and do digital marketing, digital storytelling, or you get a chance to work with audio video equipment to tell stories. That's super helpful if you want to get into filmmaking, if you want to get into marketing with that, or if you're just somebody who likes to have that creative output. I know I have some students that have done art or theater or things like that their whole lives, and they like to take those classes every semester to kind of give them a break, to kind of satiate that urge to be creative. These are just some examples. Certainly, this is not an exhaustive list. You can see a full list of those on the registrar's website, and you can kind of find the right minor for you. In my time at Mizzou, I had students minor in all kinds of things that are completely related to communication, but also completely unrelated to communication. So you're only limited by your imagination there. And then up next, we have our options for communication. And whoa, I did not know that was going to be messed up, but I will go through it anyway. So on the left-hand side is our required courses. So we have public speaking, 1200 is a required course. So is Intro to Communication. Our business and professional communication class is required as well. Our research methods and persuasion. Those classes are really the foundational kind of areas that you need to know for all aspects of communication. And then we have a huge list of other options, and that includes our content creation courses there on the bottom left, and then all of our other courses as well. You have to choose 5 of those to graduate with a communication degree. So 5 out of the 20 or so options that are listed there really gives you a chance to kind of focus in on what specifically you want to do in communication, or just what interests you if you don't quite know. That content creation, I want to mention, that is included in this list on the right. And if you're a student who's looking for hands-on experiences with, audiovisual stuff, editing, shooting video, writing scripts, that is a great option. And that kind of leads me into the next slide here, which is our different tracks within communication. So if you'll go back to that previous list, there was a lot of courses that were offered there, suggested as offerings. And what I would recommend for that advocacy, for that potential tracks, is to try to find categories of courses that will help you choose a little bit easier. And we have these different tracks. You don't have to follow them specifically, but it gives you a chance to categorize those classes. So the first one is advocacy and persuasion. That's a list of courses that are for students who are interested in kind of that marketing, public relations, advertising sort of aspect of communication. So the advocacy is bringing awareness to something, and the persuasion is trying to change your behavior. The next is those content creation courses, as I mentioned earlier. If you're a student who's interested in studying interpersonal and family dynamics, I would recommend that interpersonal and family communication track. Media and technology is more about like, how is media and technology used in society? How do we understand it? How do we use it? The organizational communication, if you want to study like how organizations work, both within themselves, but also in the wider kind of area. And then finally, political communication and civic engagement. If you're a student who wants to get involved in politics, lobbyists, learning political campaigns, or if you want to get involved with being active in your community, those are active tracks too. You'll be able to see a full list of those tracks on the registrar's website and on our own personal website, the communication website, later this spring. For now, we're still kind of developing them. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for letting me present today. I believe that is it. And I will pass it along to the next presenter. So take care and happy spring break.
All right. When I'm meeting with students individually when they come to visit campus, Juliana, this is often where I say there's other stuff that we absolutely want to tell you about, but the major itself and the courses, this is obviously one of the primary thing that you'll be coming for. So it's often a good place to stop for a spell. If you've got any questions about courses we offer or the way that the major works or anything like that, anything we can tell you at this point?
I don't have any questions as of now, but thank you.
Okay, great. No, I always like to check because sometimes once we get into other kinds of things, but I also occasionally have a tendency to run off at the mouth. So absolutely, at any point when I'm telling you about the things I'm about to tell you about, please don't hesitate. I am totally cool with being interrupted. In fact, sometimes it's necessary. Okay, so let me get back into my PowerPoint. And specifically, what I want to share with you at this point is to get into, after thinking about our academic courses, what we like to refer to in our major as the enhanced undergraduate experience. It's often said that a lot of the most important things that you're going to learn during college happen outside of the classroom. This is not, of course, to minimize what we do in the classroom, said the classroom teacher. But we have some really exciting programs that are designed to complement your overall experience. And so I just wanted to take a few minutes to tell you a little bit about those, to kind of wet your whistle for the possibilities and see what kinds of questions we can answer about it. And these areas are internships, study abroad opportunities, research with faculty, and career development. So let's take each in turn a bit. This is a statistic I like to show off at this particular point as we're getting into internships, because I think it's kind of neat. According to the most recent data that we have from our alumni, 97% of our majors have a successful job or other post-college goal placement within 6 months of graduation. That includes jobs, but it also includes things like graduate and professional school, enlistment in the military, specific plans with regard to volunteer time or gap years, that sort of thing. Primarily jobs, but those other things as well. University average, I think, is like 94.6, so we're doing all right. And part of how we get there is encouraging our students to do internships. We have a course that's on the books, Com 4940 internship. This is one of the courses that we offer in the major that can fulfill the requirements for the capstone experience that Mizzou students need to take as part of general education, primarily during your last 3 semesters. We've got other things that can happen, but internship is one of these. And what's really great about the internship course is that we've specifically built it so that while you're doing work at various locations, and the kinds of internships our students have are really kind of all over the board. I'll tell you about a couple in just a second. But while you're doing the work at the internship site, we've specifically developed reflective assignments and an analysis assignment or 2 that give you a chance to look into things like how is the organization that I'm interning with put together, so that I can figure out, where my place is in the larger organization. How are the things that I'm doing on the job, as well as the interactions I'm having with coworkers and bosses, and the observations I'm making of other folks? How are these getting me developed in areas that the National Association of Colleges and Employers refer to as career readiness competencies? There's a series of 8 of these competencies that employers want college graduates to have if they're going to give them an entry-level job. And so the course is designed to get our students thinking about, how can I make connections between the courses that I'm taking, the work that I'm doing at the internship site, and these really important skills and dispositions that are going to help me get and succeed in a job later on. You can do it as your capstone experience, but we're also flexible with it. You can do an internship from 1 to 3 credit hours in the course. And as long as you do them at different internship sites, you can actually take the full 3 credit course twice. They're a really great opportunity to take a career for a test drive, if you will. And we've had some students that have, whoa, that was a little strange, that have really made some good use of this. Cam Patton was a number, it's a little bit of a dated example, but I love bringing it up. Not the Facebook internship necessarily. She did actually do a Facebook internship before she did the one for our major. They offered her a job after graduation, incidentally. Your mileage may vary. There's the disclaimer. Not all of our students get job offers from Facebook, obviously. But I supervised an internship that Cam did with Snapchat that she was actually able to do most of the work remotely from Columbia. They would occasionally fly her out for a training or a meeting out to New York. She liked to, hey, Dr. Klien, I'm going to New York to do the, hey, that's great. Enjoy New York cuisine, while my kids are insisting on Papa John's and I'm weeping softly to myself. But she had a fantastic opportunity working with social media for a variety of different clients like the NFL. She was able to take that experience and parlay it, like I said, into a Facebook job. And I believe she moved on from there to Hulu, and she's currently in New York working at Google, which is kind of neat. We also have, through our director of internships in the department, work closely with the College of Arts and Science career development team on a number of other sorts of opportunities for internships. Some are for career exploration. There's a growing number of students that are interested in doing international internships, either by physically traveling abroad. There's also a wide range of international remote internships as well, to get that international experience while never leaving Columbia, which is kind of weird, but totally something you can do. And we're also big fans of the CLIP program, or the Civic Leaders Internship Program that's part of the Office of Service Learning. Oh, there's that bar again. For instance, another older example, but one I think is pretty cool to illustrate another thing that we do in the department. This is Lindsay Wright. She was an organizational communication student with us, was pre-law, and also Air Force ROTC. So her plan was that she was going to defer her officer commission while she attended law school. And then pick up her officer commission and be an attorney working for the Judge Advocate General Corps. She had an opportunity the summer before her senior year to go to Washington to work for the JAG Corps' International Law Division at the Pentagon, which was really cool. It's also Washington, D.C. in the summer on a federal intern salary, so the pay wasn't necessarily the greatest. But one of the things that we were able to offer through our department's Alumni Advisory Council is a scholarship that we have for students that if you're doing a summer internship that requires you to live away from home out of state, it can help you deal with some of the potential financial loss or the extra travel or living expenses you have with something like that. And so Lindsay had a great experience as a result. Speaking of travel to different places, study abroad is something that is, I think, a hallmark of what we make available in the communication department. We have our own in-house director of international programs. Right now it's Dr. Haley Horstman. And we developed this position in our department because we noticed that while a place like Mizzou with our international studies office, you can literally go and study abroad anywhere in the world you want to, including Antarctica, apparently, although if you're into that kind of thing, it'd be a little cold. But we were noticing that there were communication majors that weren't necessarily taking advantage of these opportunities. And when we talked to our students, we discovered that they were having some difficulty having a sense of, okay, this, I'd love to do this, but is it going to be able to intersect with my communication major in a helpful way? And so what our director does is works with the Mizzou International Studies Office to help students get paired up with programs that are going to be helpful to them. We just had a student, I believe it was just in this past fall semester, that did a semester away in Barcelona. I think they were dueling up with Spanish study, and they had a great time. But the other thing that we did is that we developed a program specifically for communication majors that's been really pretty successful. So these photos and a number more are photos that were taken in a town called Siena, which is a beautiful town in Tuscany in central Italy, for the program that we have each summer on communication and culture. So this takes place during June and the first part of July. It's a 5-week program. And you have an opportunity to study 2 courses intensively, both of which are going to be able to come directly into your Mizzou communication major. One is our Culture as Communication class, which is a fantastic course that even if you don't take it on study abroad, getting developed in intercultural and cross-cultural communication is something that's essential in today's job market as well as our diverse world. And there's a special topics course. This isn't the official title, but it's something along the lines of culture and food in Italy. Hence the picture that you saw with folks learning how to make authentic Tuscan cuisine. The program is primarily in Tuscany, although there are some road trips that take place to other areas such as Florence and Rome and things like that. And it's just a unique opportunity to take communication courses with communication students from Mizzou and faculty in communication from Mizzou. So it's a nice way to kind of pull those things together. One area that we're particularly proud of that an increasing number of our students are getting involved with, it's not necessarily on everybody's radar right up front. Not everybody necessarily comes to college thinking, you know what I want to do? I want to do extra research projects. They don't even, and so Giuliani, you might be thinking, why? What we know are a couple of things. We know that our department has been named a top 5 department in our field for the quality and the productivity of our faculty and graduate students' research that goes to publication and presentation. And we also know, according to national data, that most students graduate college without ever having had a significant research experience. And we also know from national research that employers are willing to pay some serious coin to get college graduates that are able to bring to bear applied research skills. If you've had experience collecting and analyzing data, being able to work with a team to solve problems and present the results of research, it's not something that's just for people bound for graduate school, but there's all kinds of applications in marketing and advertising and strategic communication. If you're able to do message testing, audience analysis research, things like that, it makes you immensely more employable. So we have a couple of research centers in our department where there are opportunities to participate in research for academic credit. Occasionally, you can get part-time pay depending on the nature of the opportunity. Political Communication Institute is pretty huge, for instance, on an election year like this. So we had a group, regularly they go to the Iowa caucuses during a presidential election year to check stuff out. This is one of my former students, Busy Emerson. She worked in the Media and Diversity Center. They do a lot of important work with looking at mass media representations of folks from different diverse identity standpoints. And she did some really fascinating work with one of our faculty on how young people develop resources for romantic relationships through watching superhero movies. Yeah, I said it. And it's just really fascinating stuff. There's also opportunities to work as research assistants for a faculty member's lab or to work with them one-on-one for research opportunities. I mentioned our advisory council a few minutes ago. They come to campus twice a year. In the fall, we have an event called Career Day where our students have an opportunity to do mock job interviews and get feedback from our alumni, as well as have an opportunity to network with folks that have a wide variety of different kinds of jobs and folks from all over the country. And then they also come back in the spring for our Com Week celebration series of events where they help us out. But it's a fantastic group to be able to network with, and they are absolutely eager to connect with our undergraduate students. ICOM, which you're going to meet the current president, Anna Clark, in just a few minutes. The Intercollegiate Communication Organization of Mizzou is our student organization for the department. They have lots of different cool things that they do. I love the fact that over the past few years, they've been able to combine fun social events like urban legends and scary stories for Halloween or Valentine's Day themed Mad Libs that get paired up with being able to talk about what we know from communication studies about things like folklore or the importance of written communication in the workplace. They're doing some really cool things. And there's also opportunities for career development through guest speakers, through workshops where they bring in folks from the Career Center. This is a couple of examples of some past events. Anna was involved in an ASL workshop a couple of years back. I think this other picture is from this was from if I'm remembering correctly, a service project for an outerwear drive for a local organization. But their big premiere event, which they're getting ready to engage in very soon, is their annual networking trip. These are some pictures from recent trips to New York City where they've gone for a few days. This year, they're actually going to be going to Washington, D.C. and the surrounding area. But the organization themselves raises the funds to go, and then they make appointments to tour different businesses and meet with folks to learn about different kinds of communication-related career areas. So, yeah, they got to go to places like Wall Street Journal, Weeden Kennedy, Google. Some other places include Hearst Publishing and a wide variety of really impressive employers. So this is something that if you get involved in ICOM is a possibility. A little bit further down the road, if your grades are up and you're interested, you can qualify for membership in Lambda Pi Eta, which is, we have a chapter of the National Communication Honor Society. And so this is a group, so it's an honorary, like you might be familiar with in high school with things like National Honor Society and things like that. But this is also an active organization that gets involved in a variety of other activities. So it's not the kind of thing that you pay the fee and you get the pin and you're over with. We do give you a kind of nice pin and fancy cords for your graduation gown. But they also have career and professionally oriented programming. This is an example of one where they met with a member of the faculty to think about is going into graduate school and a direction you might think about. Every spring, they do a big charity fundraiser for a local philanthropy through a trivia night activity. And so they're currently in the planning stages for doing that for this year's Com Week, but that's always a great time. So between ICOM and LPH, you have a real great opportunity to interact with other comm majors and also to develop those leadership skills if you are interested in being an officer at some point. Yeah, there's those last ones. Okay, so that's my stuff on what you can do outside of the classroom in the Department of Communication. Juliana, any questions about any of that stuff before I toss it to Justine?
No questions. That's helpful. Thank you.
Okay, great. All right, then I am going to pass you on to Justine Durham, who is the career coach for the College of Arts and Science.
Hello, Juliana. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me. So I'm going to share my screen. You heard Professor Klien talk a little bit about the importance of being career ready upon graduation and a few things that you can do to make sure you get those necessary skills, right? So I'm here to chat about just a few more resources that you have. I am half of the ANS Career Development team, and I'll talk a little bit more about my partner in crime in just a few moments. But this is our ANS Career Development website. So after I finish chatting, I could put this in the chat and you can actually access this right now. So this is a lovely picture from one of our Kaffner ANS career fairs a few years ago, and we do have that every semester. We have over 100 employers at this career fair, but there's multiple career fairs on campus and they're all available to all students. A lot of comm students like going to the business career fair, especially this fall. We're going to include more employers that are especially looking for students interested in like digital marketing, graphic design, social media, things of that nature. So if that interests you, please keep an eye out for that. It'll be about October, early October. So next things we have is, you heard Professor Klien talked about the 8 core competencies to be career ready. So I'll just go over those super duper quickly. Here they are right here, and they're created by NACE, and that is the National Association of Colleges and Employers. And this is what Professor Klien was referring to, that career and self-development, communication. If you choose this major, obviously you'll get a lot of skills in that. Critical thinking, equity and inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. In addition to the technical skills that you'll get from the classroom, your internships, and other things, these are the skills that you really need to be career ready, okay? And you can just find that on our website. Another neat thing we have to kind of help guide you in your journey to be career ready by senior year or by graduation are these career readiness guides. And we have one for each year, right? So if you come in, you'll be a freshman, you'll be a first year student. And we have kind of like a candy cane lane game of what can you do right now as soon as you get to campus to help make sure that you're career ready. So we kind of talk about career major exploration. Is this major right for you? Of course it is. Okay, what can I do with this major, right? And then we're going to talk about involvement. You heard about all the different orgs that are comm specific, but Mizzou has over 100 different organizations that you can join. And any experience you could get, volunteer, work, internship, student orgs, those will all look really good on your resume, okay? So get involved as soon as you get to campus, as much as you're comfortable, and then we'll start talking about some career readiness things. Once you've done an internship or two, or just been on a student org, whether it's an exec position or just as a member, we'll start talking to you about how to put that on your resume, how to talk about that in an interview, all sorts of really neat stuff. I know sometimes it seems like, oh, let's slow down. It's a little too early to talk about that, but it's never too early to start kind of starting your journey of becoming career ready, okay? And then, so back to our website, in addition to just a couple of these resources like the career fair, the career readiness guides, we have actual people that you can talk to, right? So we have something called peer career advisors or career specialists, and they're housed in our general MU Career Center. And who they are just really thoroughly trained current MU students that can just talk to you. They can be honest, like, hey, I'm also in that major. I'm considering this. They can help you with major career exploration. They can help you with your resume. They can talk a little bit about grad school, mock interviews, all sorts of things, right? But if you know for certain, hey, I want an internship and now I just need someone to help me figure out which one I should do or how to get class credit for that, like Professor Klein talked about, Kirsten Pape is your go-to, right? So Kirsten Pape is our ANS internship coordinator. As soon as you touch down on Mizzou's campus, she'll be in your success network on your MU Connect. But her email is also right here, and I know she's really nice. So if you email her and say, hey, I'll be a freshman this year, I have a question regarding internships, she'd definitely be down to answer any of those questions. You can find that on our website. And then there I am, an old picture of me. I am the ANS career coach. I work primarily with juniors and seniors about those post-graduation next steps. You heard Professor Klien say COM students have a 97% success rate within 6 months of graduation, whether that's a full-time job, the military, a bridge year, anything, right? I can definitely help you figure out what's best for you. And then we have a few other things, a few of our favorite resources. We've got a lot of career resources. So to not overwhelm you, we just picked out a few, right? So we've got career communities. I'll click on that. And it just talks about, hey, maybe I don't know what I want to do for a profession yet, but I think maybe I could find it in one of these bubbles. Is it specifically communication, media, and journalism or business and commerce? You heard a little bit about the tracks that they have, government law, any of those things. And then we've got Focus 2. I won't click on that one, but that will take you to a free assessment. And I believe you have access to it as soon as you have your paw print, right? So what it is, it's a short assessment that gives you kind of like some quizzes on how to find your values, interests, personality, and skills, right? Our VIPs, and what careers might interest you most based off those few things. And then we've got a really neat thing called Career Guides, and it has a guide for almost anything you can think of, right? So is it a guide to job search, guide to internships, guide to resume, guides to interview, LinkedIn networking, all of the above. And this is public information, so feel free to access that now. Something else we have on our website are some featured jobs and internships. We do update this about bi-weekly. So if you want to know some internships, we've got some here to get you started. And then they'll take you to Handshake, which is our platform to find all sorts of internships, full-time jobs, on-campus jobs, off-campus jobs, volunteer opportunities, all sorts of things. And I'll move this little button so I can click on this. And then we have a lot of times students say, now I love communication, I love my major, whatever the case may be, but what can I do with that, right? So I know that's a question I definitely had when I was a freshman. So this is another resource that you can access. What can I do with this major? And so if you scroll down to arts and science, you will see communication. There you go. And then it will pop up. Students go into business, right? Maybe it's sales. They go into public relations, advertisement, communication specialists, right? Media, nonprofit, all the things. Comm students do all the things. So if you ever have a question, is this a good major? Am I going to get a good job afterwards? Yes, definitely. A lot of our students do, and they go into all the things. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to just go on this page. I'll put the link in the chat. And then, like I said, both of our emails are there. So please reach out with any questions. All right, any questions?
No, but that was also helpful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
I apologize. I will pass it back to Professor Klein.
As I mentioned earlier, Anna Clark is the president of ICOM this year. And we wanted to make sure that we had at least one person on this panel who can tell you the truth about the communication major from the student perspective. Anna, I don't know if there's anything in particular you wanted to say up front, but she's especially here, Juliana, if you've got any questions that you'd like to ask from a student. So Anna, floor is yours.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here today and help out. As Dr. Klien said, if you have any questions for me, let me know. I'm studying organizational communication, so a lot of the courses that I've taken have been kind of like organizational communication specific. I know we had like run through a couple of the courses, and Dr. Klien had endorsed the culture communication course, which I would also highly recommend. I took that last year and it was incredible. I've really enjoyed my time as a comm student, especially in the communication organizations as well. I am a member of Lambda Pi Eta as well as ICOM, and they're just such incredible organizations that have brought me to so many people and opportunities that I otherwise wouldn't have found. Along with that, there are just so many good resources on campus and like in particular in the communication department, your advisors, the people in the career center, your professors, even fellow students, everyone just wants to help each other out and, provide any assistance in any way they can. So you don't even necessarily have to seek it. It'll usually come to you, and it's just really incredible. And yeah, so just taking those opportunities. And if you have any questions for me, I'll be happy to help.
That sounds great. Thank you.
Well, friends, let's ask Anna some questions. I know it can be hard to come up with some. So the first question I'll ask you is, what was your journey to picking your major? Did you know when you first came to Mizzou that you wanted to study communication? And if not, how did you get there?
Yeah, absolutely. So I love this question because I'm real into communication now. But honestly, prior to coming to Mizzou, I kind of had no idea what I wanted to do. Juliana, I'm not sure where you're at with everything, but for me personally, I was just torn between so many options, which is why I chose communication. I'm from St. Louis and I attended community college before coming to Mizzou, and I took an interpersonal communication course at my community college, and in the building there was this big poster that said like basically it was very similar to the website that Justine just showed us. It was careers in communication, and it was just this massive list. And I was looking at it and I was like, okay, I would do that one, that one. There were at least like 30 careers on there that I would be more than content to have. So that is definitely what pushed me. And then also just kind of exploring the major and taking courses. I was like, yes, this is definitely what I would like to do. So that helped me decide. And then after actually experiencing everything and coming here, I was 100% set on it.
Other questions? I have a minor in journalism, so I can keep going. Well, can you talk a little bit about financially with these experiences you have? What support have you had with those?
So I have had a lot of support. Something that comes to mind initially is like with ICOM, we do the annual networking trip, and our goal is to make that completely free for students who do attend, or at like a very small expense. So it allows more students to have access to that opportunity, and you get so much out of it. It's such an incredible resource. Going into Mizzou alumni organizations, or meeting with Mizzou alumni and going to the organizations that they work at, and just kind of one of the first questions that we ask people who we visit is, can you walk us through your time at Mizzou to where you are now? And that is just the most like eye-opening response that we get from them usually. At least for me, it's so incredibly helpful to hear from someone who was in your shoes at one point, talk through their experience to where they are now. It's so nice to see a success story especially as a current student, because graduation just seemed so daunting, and it's just hard to imagine yourself getting there, but then seeing other people is very nice. And then I've also gotten help financially through the comm department. Scholarship wise, I received a communication curator scholarship last year. The communication department offers multiple scholarships. I believe there are scholarships for each like focus area, so organizational, political, mediated. There are the internship scholarships as well that help people financially who want those internship opportunities to develop professionally, but they might be unpaid or out of state and you just need help with those costs. So there are a lot of opportunities for financial assistance, which is really important for me, and I know a lot of other students, and it's very helpful.
Awesome. Oh, Ellison asked, is comm your only major?
So I always love also running through my whole spiel of what I'm studying because I just think it sounds fun. So organizational communication is my only major, but I'm also receiving through the College of Arts and Sciences a minor in Spanish, a certificate in multicultural studies, and then through the business school, I'm receiving a human resource management certificate. So that's another thing that I'll tell you as someone coming to Mizzou. You will learn that there are so many opportunities for like additional areas of study and tacking on other things. And if you can do it, go for it. It's so helpful and kind of also, it's helpful that comm is such a broad program and way, such a broad major and area of study. It's really helpful for people like me who are indecisive. But then if you're also indecisive to the point of you can't quite pick one, adding on other minor certificates or even dual majoring helps you kind of narrow it down as well. So I have a human resources internship currently, and I had one last summer as well. And I'm looking to potentially probably go into that because I do really enjoy it. And so that certificate has helped me. And the organizational communication part is also very helpful and supplemental for that. But yeah, there is a lot of overlap with courses and minors, certificates, majors, and it really helps you add more things on as well and kind of expand what you're learning.
Awesome. Any other questions for our current student? No? Oh, Ellison, you keep sending them directly to me, dear. What skills have you used from your comm major in your other studies? What about the other way around?
That is a great question. I think that from my communication courses specifically, I have learned, it sounds very cliche to say I've learned a lot about communication, but learning how to communicate effectively, it sounds like something that's kind of like a given, like, oh, well, everyone can communicate, but like specifically in I believe it's Com 3575, the writing intensive business and professional one. That one has been, I can't even, words don't really justify how helpful that has been for me in other courses as well as like just a um in professional experience. It has helped me in more ways than imaginable, just with resumes, cover letters, networking, anything professional job search wise. That course really kind of laid the groundwork for me. And I mean, prior to taking that course, I didn't even really know what an elevator pitch was or other certain things that are really useful and pretty much necessary in that kind of professional atmosphere. But aside from that, also like the cultural courses, interpersonal communication, even just the introduction to communication course. Really, all my communication courses have helped me learn how to research, how to write more effectively, teamwork abilities. I feel like I have yet to have a communication course without a group assignment, which I particularly enjoy. I think that they're really useful. I think that teamwork experience and abilities are definitely necessary and very supplemental and helpful for other courses as well. So I think hopefully that's a good answer kind of touching all the parts of like all the courses and everything.
That was a great answer, actually. Justine, you have a question?
I sure do. Anna, so it sounds like you're super involved and that's awesome, right? So I have a question. What was your favorite career-related event, whether it was a networking trip, an internship, or career fair? Tell me more about that.
That is a great question. I'm tempted to say, I mean, going to New York last year with ICOM, you kind of have to put that at #1. But I won't focus too much on that just to kind of explain some other opportunities at Mizzou. But the ICOM networking trip to New York last year was just absolutely incredible. The organizations we went to, the people we visited, it was such an enriching experience. It was so unique. It was just, I came out of that with just a whole different perspective. So that was incredible. But one thing that I will say is that the career fairs offered at Mizzou are really awesome and great opportunities. I know so many people who have gotten internships and full-time positions from them. I've gotten internships from them. I went to the Arts and Science and Kaffner have one together. And so the one that happened last spring, I got an internship out of, and I wasn't even really looking for one at the time, but most of the recruiters there will like take a resume, and I happened to speak with the Girl Scouts, and I told them I was, interested in HR and kind of exploring that professionally. And they took my resume and wrote HR on it, and I got my internship out of that. So that was definitely also a very memorable and probably one of my other favorite opportunities that I've had.
Thank you. And I promise I just have one more question. So I think it's awesome that you've been to a career fair. Sometimes students are scared to go. Like I said, there's over 100 employers. It can seem like some big daunting thing. But if you had one tip for a student thinking about going to a career fair, what would that be?
Okay, my one tip. I'm tempted to say something that might not be good from like a professional standpoint, but one thing that I will say is it's kind of not that serious. It seems very daunting and it's very scary and intimidating. There's all these recruiters and everyone's dressed in suits and they're very serious business people, and you practice your elevator pitch beforehand. You want your resumes, and you want to come at it from a professional standpoint, but I guess my one tip would be to remember that they're people. I walked up to one booth and I complimented someone that had a Land's End boat tote. I don't know if you know what those are, but they're a cute bag. And I walked up and I complimented her bag. I obviously, I asked how they were doing and everything, but if you can kind of segue and make it a little bit more personable, it really like eases the tension. At the end of the day, they're people too, and they probably are almost a little bit bored of all of the just like elevator pitches and kind of professional jargon being thrown at them. So just kind of keeping in mind that you're just having a conversation, and if you get something out of it, like an internship or a job, that's awesome. But also, if you don't, it's just some, additional professional development experience, and it's just like useful in the long run, regardless. So yeah, that would be my advice, I think.
Anna, that was awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And as a recruiter, you're right. I wouldn't say we're bored, but we're also just as nervous to talk to people because we're being interviewed too. So that was very good advice. But I am going to stop the recording. Thank you, Anna.